open source intelligence, which this is a part of basically these three topics, and cybersecurity intelligence is a part of this course. So, okay, let me adjust my presentation here. It's a little bit. Okay, good. So, the first topic I'm going to explain is information security. Okay, there is as I said, there's a difference between cybersecurity and information security. What is information security? Information security, as if you guys you're already IT trained, or you have even you have a basic knowledge in IT, you know information security is built based on the three objectives: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. All right. So the moment we talk about these topics, technically we are talking about information, which means this information should not be on. We should prevent it for any unauthorized access, modification, or any kind of destruction to the information or data. However, when we talk about cybersecurity, cybersecurity is more defending the infrastructures, defending the networks, defending is whatever is involved in the infrastructures. This can be basically summarized in four categories: network security, application security, information security itself, and basically those operational and principles. So network security is quite straightforward: whatever devices which can connect us between the networks or between the computers. All right, it can be our network environment, it can be our hardware, it can be our servers, or anything. Okay, so what we try to protect here, our environment is, for instance, our environment, it will not be disrupted by malware attack, or recently it's very common by ransomware attack. Or even sometimes we don't need to get to these technical attacks, like some kind of social engineering attacks, which later on I'm going to explain, like those phishing attacks. All right. So the next one is application security. Application security is running on an application layer. It's those software, those mobile apps, those even built-in applications which we are using for our daily job, like those typical software we are using, like Microsoft Document, Microsoft Word, Excel, those internet browsers which we are using for our daily job, or any other in-house basically software or application we have. So how are we gonna protect this application? Because obviously we don't know the source codes, right? So what will be happen the moment you receive those updates, okay, which the service provider provided to you, that's some kind of the modification to the application to enhance, if there is a security update, to enhance the security. However, if these applications basically is built in, so what other options we have? We have such things like source code analysis, vulnerability testing, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, which later I will explain about these few things. And by doing this, basically we can make our application secure. However, only technically we make the application secure is not enough. We need some principles, we need some compliance. That's why we have some compliance in the company, or we during the development or during when we want to use this, we need to follow this compliance, which later on I will try to explain it in short. Okay, so the next one is basically information security, which can be another category of cybersecurity, which is talking about integrity and privacy of the data and information. For example, where this data to be stored and how we transmit or transfer this data. Okay, that's why one of the good example is the moment we use SSL certificate or HTTPS to access to our webmail, to access to our ERP system, CRM system, or anything which is in the cloud. So this information security, basically, there's a techniques to protect the privacy of data. And obviously, the last one is the operational security, which is a process and decision, which how to handle the data. Okay, for instance, when we say how to handle the data, means which user have access or permission to have access to this particular part of network or data, or what we call it is a data classification. So that's the another part. So cybersecurity can be divided in four different categories: network security, application, information security protection, and operational security. Now, the moment we talk about computers, okay, or computer system, there are few components. The computer system can be always basically subject to attack, or the computers can be attack objects. The moment I said subject to attack is simple. Basically, the computer used as attack tools, okay? Or the moment the is an object of the attack, the computer basically being attacked by another system or by another application or some kind of malicious attack. All right. So those very component when it comes to cybersecurity, there are few components which is really important for us: software, hardware, network, data, procedures, and people. So during when we are talking about cybersecurity, it means we have to protect all these 6 components. Okay. Now, when we talk about hardware, obviously is servers, workstation, the hardware base, the network, those routers or anything which is involved in our network or our infrastructures. Those must be basically secure. The network itself, the infrastructures, the hardware itself can be compromised, can have vulnerabilities, those devices, because don't forget, those devices is also acting as another computer in the system. So those they have an operation system, those they have an application which is running on those hardwares, and those can be subject to the vulnerabilities also. So one of the issues we need to solve, first we need to solve those vulnerabilities, those loopholes, those problems, those security problem which is on the hardware. Then the next step, we're talking about the software. Software can be in an operation system level, or it can be in an application level. OS level is obvious. We are dealing with the operation system every day, like Microsoft Windows or Linux or even Mac OS, basically. Windows widely used, and obviously we receive lots of update. It can be security update, and I think every second Wednesday of the month we receive those updates. So those are trying to patch those vulnerabilities, to be trying to patch those loopholes which someone can use it and basically and compromise our system. So we have hardware, we have software, we have network. I already explained network environment, how we can, and also we need to take action to secure it. We have a data, how we categorize the data, how we protect the data by encryption, by data classification, and many others. We have a procedures, which are those compliance, which we have to follow, how to secure the data, how to basically do the risk assessment, which part of our network is more vulnerable, and identify those procedures, or what exactly the users have to follow, what is the user's procedures when it comes to sensitive data. Those are involved in procedures, and obviously we have to protect people. Why? Because just for example, if you are on a cloud environment and you are hosting sensitive data, personal data of people, and if those data got compromised, basically those people, can be in danger. So what we have to achieve, basically we need to protect people also by having a cyber security compliance. Now, business and information security, of course, is hand to hand right now. Information is money, data is money. So business without information and data technically will die, because right now probably 99% of our business transactions and whatever we generate for business is basically saved on somewhere, on our server, cloud, or something. and technically it's not really in a hard copy. Now it's all on a soft copy, and we use basically computers or mobile phone or any other device, intelligent device, to create this data or create this information. So protecting basically this data for business is really critical. Why? Because if we don't protect it, we will lose our ability to function as a normal business. And of course, it will damage our business reputation. If we lose data, basically, we are losing money. Why? Because even though we want to go for the incident response and business continuous planning, the business will be down for a few hours or few minutes or few hours, or it can be few days or a month, and that can be basically a big problem for us. So why the data is very valuable? Because anytime somebody sabotage and steal the data, basically they are stealing our business. So if somebody managed to steal your customer database, okay, that can be a very big deal for us. Or if somebody managed to steal the credit card of your customers or credential of your customers, that can be a very reputational, basically, damage to our business. So that's why business and information security and information cyber security, it works nowadays, works hand to hand. And that's why businesses have spent a lot of money to protect their data and information. So what will be happen? Who will attack your company? Obviously, cyber criminals, right? So in order to understand who are the cyber criminals, we have to understand what is a cyber crime, okay? Any crime technically can damage, steal, or acting something illegal or suspicious, basically, on the network environment or information and data. That can be considered as a cyber crime. Now, if you want to categorize the cyber crime, it's very hard, because nowadays anything can be a cyber crime. If you have illegal access to a system, that can be a cyber crime. Unauthorized access, If you steal data, that can be a cyber crime. If you share some personal information, which the person doesn't have any idea, that can be a cyber crime. So I categorize the cyber crime in three categories: cyber theft, vandalism, and cyber terrorism. Cyber theft, it can be those identity theft, or it can use like a malware. You can use a malicious code. It's basically to gain access to the computer system and steal some information. Vandalism, basically, it can be damaging the resources, deleting or destroying something, or even though, for example, on those web-based environment, can be defacement, or even publishing some false information that can be a reputational to basically, that can be some damage. And cyber terrorism, of course, nowadays is huge. Why? Because now those organizations, those illegal organizations or terrorism or some organization like this, they can easily use network environment, mobile environment, those messaging, instant messaging, or those applications like Telegram, WhatsApp, or anything. So basically, they create a group, they share information. They can do this privately, because most of these applications, or all of these applications, are encrypted, and it's very safe and secure for them. So they can technically to organize crime or basically share this criminal activity. So as I said before, computer misuse can be categorized in two categories. Computer is used to commit the crime, or basically computer is the target of the crime. Okay, I give you a basic, I did some research, but this is for the last year research. And I believe this is, this is a report, but I believe they are much more lost happen here. It's not only 58,000, probably 58 million is just reported cases. However, there are many other scams which is not even being reported. But the official so-called from the CSA report, it said businesses in Singapore lost nearly 58 million only to email scam. Okay, email scam, like those phishing attacks which you receive, those phishing emails which you receive, which they pretend they be from the legitimate source, something from the bank, from the freight forwarding company, from your insurance, or even from your own company email. And they ask you technically, basically open a document, open an attachment, or basically they ask you to go to a link to open that link, and obviously that's not a legitimate link, and basically to enter your credentials, and the moment they have your credentials, they can compromise your account and basically do an illegal activity. Another basically email scams, which very popular nowadays. The hacker managed to compromise the system and create a fake account, and basically asking the supplier or customer basically to transfer the money to a different bank account, and they know there is a deal is going on, and basically they start to communicate with a both party and try to basically ask one of the party to transfer the money or transfer the payment to a false account. And the moment this the money being transferred to the false account, what will be happen, obviously the money is gone, and the hacker is also disappeared. So cyber threats, now this is more technical. The previous slide was more in general, but now it is more technical. So cyber threat, we can say like a malware, DDoS attack, SQL injection, zero-day exploit, and man-in-the-middle attack. These are the attacks which during the cybersecurity course you will learn about it, and how these things can be implemented, how we can identify the vulnerabilities, how we can exploit it, and how we can conduct these attacks. So this is one of the parts which during the course you will learn about it. And these are the technical attacks. However, it's not always we are dealing with the technical attacks. Sometimes we are dealing with the attacks which we call it social engineering. Social engineering is not a new topic. It's been there for many years. Okay. And what is the social engineering? Social engineering is basically to use the human weakness and turn it and against us. So what is the human weakness? Human weakness can be fear. Human weakness can be trust. Human weakness can be help. And for instance, you receive an email which is telling you, if you don't change your bank bank account login, your money will be frozen in next 48 hours. So basically, they are using a fear factor over here to basically to force you to go to a false link, and basically to provide your personal information in that false link, and basically the hacker can easily grab those data. This can be happen in a phishing attack. It can be happening during via different scams, online scams, and also in those chat rooms and everything. The other type of the basically social engineering attacks, it can be identity theft. Identity theft can be happen in many ways. One of the very common ways nowadays in the social media. For example, the user will go and steal data from somebody else's Facebook, create a second profile, and try to basically pretend to be that person. And it will go and add friend or friend of that person in order to get to that circle and try to get some data, or try to talk to the friends and ask them for money, or ask them for a piece of information, and many other scenarios which can be happen via identity theft. Also, another part of the identity theft, which is very common nowadays, like those email addresses, credit card information, credentials, which has been leaked, nowadays can be easily sold on the internet or darknet or deep web. And criminals usually buy this information and use this information as an identity theft. You can buy emails, you can buy basically personal data, you can buy credit cards, you can buy a driving license, you can buy even a passport or anything with this kind of the information, which is being right now selling on a internet or dark web. So now, For us as a professional or for us as a business owner, how we can identify these cyber threats. Okay, the only way to identify the cyber threats is not difficult, it is easy. Okay, but however, we are dealing with many cyber threats. In order for to react or to act or to fight with the cybercrime, we have to prioritize the threats. Okay, which we have to see which one is the greatest threats to our environment, which assets we have to protect first. Okay, in terms of the attack, if it was a successful attack, what steps we have to take and what is the cost of the recovery. Okay, and basically what is the how we can protect and prevent these attacks. So by prioritizing the threats, we will be able to protect ourselves or build a better different of layer, different basically cyber security. We can create a cybersecurity strategy to basically prevent these attacks, or even these attacks happen, how we can run faster for the business recovery, business continuous planning or disaster recovery, and basically how we can get back to the normal business as soon as possible. Okay, now in order to basically identify the risks or prioritize, we need to understand a concept called vulnerability. Okay, as I said before, every component in the cybersecurity, every component in our network, every component in our basically application, it can be vulnerable. So what is this vulnerability? Vulnerability, last time maybe we heard it as something called a loophole, or some basically problem which it comes in a source code. But as a professional people, okay, as a cybersecurity professionals, vulnerability is basically it's a simple API, okay, which is in a source code, is not documented. So there is a attacker can identify this API and use these APIs to connect to our system, to connect to our application, and obviously do something do something harmful. So there is for those attackers, like the moment they said the system got compromised or the system got hacked, basically there is a process for the attacker to start to this attack. First, they start with the information gathering about the target, to identify the target, to see what is the target, what is the weakness, and what is the strength in the target. The moment have this basic information, after the information gathering and have this basic information, the hacker move to identify or discovery the vulnerabilities. Okay, now there are many tools available to identify the vulnerabilities, or professional tools, open source tools, they are basically is available. And if you know about the Linux Kali, I mean, Linux Kali is not a professional tools, but is a great environment for those people. They love to learn about hacking or basically vulnerability testing, information gathering, or exploiting. Linux Kali basically provide a great environment for that. All right. So after we identify the vulnerabilities, what we have to do, we have to identify the exploit. What is the exploit? Exploit is basically a piece of software which we use to attack the application or to attack the system. Okay, it can be just a source code which is help us to communicate with those APIs. It's a source code which is help us to communicate with those loopholes. Okay, so if the exploit is available, that's very good. We can use the exploit and basically attack the system. However, if the exploit is not available, then we have to basically build the system. Okay, build the exploit. So after basically we build the exploit, what will be the next? To basically deliver the exploit, and the moment we deliver the exploit and successfully run the exploit, basically we can have we can communicate with a target, with the system, and basically is ready for us to compromise it. So basically that is about vulnerability testings and penetration, vulnerability assessment and penetration testings, which that is also a part of the cybersecurity course. Now, in order to protect ourselves, obviously we need to plan it. Okay, now information security planning, it can be categorized in 4 categories. First is a policies, a standard, practice, and risk assessment. Okay, now for each basically category we have, also we have to have an index. Okay, what is those index? The index, it will say, it will tell us how basically critical or basically severe or basically how important this basically vulnerability or this risk to us, which in the following examples, I will try to explain it. So the first phase is the risk assessment. If you saw it in the previous basically slide, we had like a red, blue, green, which usually will tell you what is a high vulnerabilities, what is a low vulnerabilities, what is the informational type of vulnerabilities, and basically which one is a critical. The moment we have those critical vulnerabilities, it means we have to take the immediate action, because critical vulnerabilities, it means our system is basically can be easily compromised, or in a very simple word, basically it can be hacked fast. Okay. So the moment we go to the risk assessment phase, basically we have to identify the risk which is happening in our environment, and basically we give the percentage, we give a score to those risks. Okay, as I can over here, I identify the risk factors, likelihood determination, identify possible controls, and access controls. Okay, the next one is for the information security planning is the basically policies. Okay, now what is the policy? Basically, the policy is some kind of the instruction. Okay, we have an IT policy, and we have an IT policy which for our IT environment, for cybersecurity environment, or also we have an IT policy which is for our employees. Okay, these two can be totally different. Okay, so excuse me. So we need policies, basically. We need those, somebody put the rules, what can be happen. For example, one of those policies is like the users are not able to share the information via USB device, okay, or any kind of external storage device. Or users, they are not able to use their personal email to share information, or basically to send it to the customer, or basically even share it among the colleagues. Okay, so this can be a set of the policy. Now, in order to create these policies, okay, if we are talking about the more technical policy, we need standards. Okay, we need compliance. One of the good compliance or standard is basic information security or information management is basically ISO 27001, which explain to us basic guideline of the information security. There are other policies available. There are other compliance available. Depends on which business you are in. We can learn about policy. For instance, over here, there is a policy for cybersecurity from Money Authority of Singapore, MAS. And that's basically covered the cybersecurity aspect of the policy in financial environment, okay? Or whoever using any kind of the online payment, or basically like those credit cards or those point of sale, basically payments, they have to follow MAS guideline. And so when for the policy and compliance to be effective, obviously the users or whoever use this policy, the member of organization must understand the policy. So in order to understand the policy, what we have to do, we have to train them. We have to provide training, not only for IT people, not only for the cybersecurity people who try to defend basically the cybersecurity environment. However, we have to we have to basically prepare and train the normal user also. So that's why there is a concept of SETA, okay, Security Education Training and Awareness Program. So basically, by providing this kind of the program, which is a security education, training, and awareness program, the user will understand more about the risk and the IT environment and and how they can basically use these trainings to protect the company, information data, and also themselves, and also the infrastructures. Okay, so the first things is a security education. Basically, everybody in organization needs to be trained. This is more related to the IT people. So not everybody has a high qualification in the IT environment. So they need to be trained. And maybe in a higher management, they can get basically a degree in information security or information system from the universities. However, they are basically basic trainings also available, like those certificates and so on, which the users can be basically trained and get a recent update, what is happening in the market and what is happening in the new basically threats, new way the system can be compromised. And those can be basically teach in a local institute or basically professional degrees. Security training is another one, which it can be involved not only member of the cybersecurity team or IT team, it can be basically involve all the basically staff or employees. And basically it can be, again, they can attend the security training which is available, or if they are dealing with a very customized environment, it can be customized in-house training can be provided to the technical people or even non-technical people. Non-technical people training is extremely important because obviously they don't know, and they are the one who are basically, they are in a great risk. And what will be happen normally if there is any attack, they are the one who face it first. And if they do some mistake, which because they never been trained, and easily they can be, the mistake can be happen, and that mistake can put the entire basically infrastructures in a huge risk. And there's the next one is security awareness programs, which normally most of the company avoid this because it can be a time consuming, or sometimes the consultant provide a very complex scenarios. So technically, it's basically put the employees or put the company in the environment which we are right now, we are under attack, and how we can basically react and how we can solve this. So it's a great basically training, because the user technically will see what is happening during the actual attack. There's a simulation, and they know how to react, and if there is any issue about it, and if they did some mistake, obviously those consultant or those cybersecurity people, they can basically train them again and tell them how we have to react. So the training and awareness is a one part of the basically cybersecurity implementation and basically getting ready for the cybersecurity environment. However, what will be happen if, in case the attack happen, or if our system get compromised? Then if the system got compromised, obviously we have to have a continuity strategy. Continuity strategy is basically can be divided in three parts: incident response, disaster recovery planning, and business continuously planning. Okay, incident response is, in a simple way, what how I can explain is the crime happened, the incident happened, and how we have to react to incident, and how we can basically the first respond to the incident, and then we can move control the incident first, and then move for the disaster recovery if there is any loss. If it's not, then we move to the next step for the business continuous planning, which the business has to go on, and until later on, I will explain more in details this incident response planning. The business will continue, and then we will have enough time to investigate and do the root cause analysis to see how the incident happened, and basically we provide a solution which in future that incident won't happen again. So the moment we go for the security assessment, we are talking about a few few ways to do it. The first one, which we talked about vulnerabilities before, is a vulnerabilities scanning to identify the weakness. This can be automated. It's not really necessarily lots of experience. However, in some very different environment, the moment you have an in-house basically system or in-house application, that can be quite difficult to do. And then the next one is a penetration testing, which again, this vulnerability assessment and penetration testing is a part of the cybersecurity class. And basically, penetration testing is good the moment we want to identify the known or unknown weaknesses. Okay, there are many unknown weaknesses happening which we don't know. Like in the market, we call it those zero-day attacks. Okay, it means there is a vulnerability exists. However, those tools we have for the vulnerability scanning, we can't identify those vulnerabilities and loophole. So that's why we have to use penetration testing techniques and to identify those unknown vulnerabilities. And after basically the next phase is IT security audit. IT security audit is not necessary to be technical. It's more can be on policies and procedures. As I said, policy and procedures is extremely important because policy and procedures can not only defend our environment, it also can defend our data and information. Over here, I already explained basically how the system, security assessment works: pre-assessment, assessment, preparing for result, and basically reporting. So the first phase is a pre-assessment. We have to define our scope, goal, timeline, and basically the ground rules. The next, we move to the assessment itself, technology, tools, and who is going to perform the assessment. Do we have a necessary basically permission to do this? And preparing for result, discover the weaknesses, and identify the vulnerabilities, and basically the risk, calculate the risk, and also when we go to the reporting, and basically to present those reporting to the management or to the cybersecurity team or IT basically information technology team, and for them to basically to go through those weaknesses and they can resolve those weaknesses. So as I said about this incident response, which can be a very critical the moment the attack happen or the system get compromised, is a process of preventing and mitigation of the cybersecurity incident. Now they are over here again. I already explained about the cybersecurity incident. It can be a violation of the computer security policies or standard, unauthorized access, loss of information, confidentiality, and it can be misuse of the service, or even it can be a physical or logical damage to the system. As you can see in this chart, the cybersecurity incident chart, it shows basically between 2016 and 2018 and 2019, there will be over 40% of increase in a different type of the attacks, which the attacks factor or attacks type is identified here as a SQL injection, phishing attack, DDoS attack, physical access attack, malware, cross-site scripting, and watering hole, and undisclosed, which it can be technically those zero-day attacks. So roughly during the cybersecurity class, we will explain this type of attacks, and you will learn how these attacks can be happen and how basically we can defend these attacks. So when it comes to this incident response planning, or IR planning, there are few factors which is important for us. As you can see, the moment the incident happened, we have to we have two categories here. First, we prevent the incident happen, and what will be happen after the incident happened. So that's our forensics part. Okay, prevention, as I already explained, those vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, those policy, those implementation, it can be there. Basically prevention. However, the moment the incident happened, what we will do, we have to basically do the root cause analysis. How we can do the root cause analysis, we have to basically have the evidence. Okay, we have to go through the forensics basic computer forensics and identify what has been happened, who did it, how these things happen, when this happened. So that's basically is in a computer forensics. Okay, which again, computer forensics is another topic in this course. And I think in next slide, I'm going to explain about the computer forensics and what is the computer forensics and some of the computer forensics techniques. So computer forensics will help us basically to identify the root cause. And the moment we learn those problems, how these things happen, then we can provide a solution to that incident doesn't happen anymore. Okay, so now we talked about computer forensics earlier, and what is the computer forensics in a very basic. Okay, computer forensics is a very big topic. Okay, computer forensics is involved with evidence, which evidence in digital environment can be anything. Anything you can save data, anything you be able to basically share data with it, or store data that can be considered as evidence. Your mobile phone can be evidence. Your basically computer is evidence. The thumb drive is evidence. The cloud environment is evidence. So basically, in the computer environment, anything can be evidence, and the crime can be happen in any of these platforms. So if I want to explain the computer forensics is a preservation, identification, extraction, and documentation of the crime happen on basically a computer media, which a computer media here is the evidence for us, as I already explained what is the evidence. So basically, we use computer forensics to identify the digital crime or even non-digital crime. As I said, digital crime, it can be those crimes which is the computer is basically, or the system is the one who is performing the crime. Is like the malware attack, DDoS attack, or like exploiting. Those are basically computer crime, digital crime. Or non-digital crimes is those crimes which is computer only used for the crime itself. For example, if you are creating a false document, okay, or basically you're modifying a document, you're modifying an invoice, you're modifying basically a purchase order or anything, or basically you're using a computer to perform some kind of social engineering attacks. That's basically non-digital attacks. So another basically part of the computer forensics is supporting the evidence, and the next one is basically is a data recovery and how we recover those data or metadata from the evidence. So when the moment we put all this together and we analyze it and we identify the root cause, obviously we have to document it, we have to provide the report, and that's basically can cover is a part of the computer forensics. As I said, computer forensics is a big topic. Frankly speaking, I need probably 2 full days to talk about computer forensics and techniques and how it can help us and how we can do the root cause analysis. It's not only one topic, anything can be fall under the computer forensics. For example, nowadays, malware investigations can be a part of the computer forensics. So as you can see, it's a very big topic. The other thing is gonna rain on my side, and let me on the light here. Guys, just give me a second. Okay, I think it's better. So another part of the forensic technology or another branch of the computer forensics is mobile forensics. Mobile forensics is considerably quite new topic. Why? Because by the moment we introduce the smartphones, is basically we open up a new science in the forensic technology. So that's and why is important, because nowadays we use our mobile devices for almost for everything. And we save messages, we save calls, emails, photos, videos, our banking and everything basically nowadays is we use, or even like, for example, this kind of Zoom call, you know, or this kind of the call, meeting, online meeting can be happen on the mobile devices. So that's why it's extremely important for us. There is a diagram next to the basically what I explained about mobile forensics. It's a manual extraction, logical extraction, dumping, and chip off, and macro reader. So this is basically a different techniques or different way when we use or when we want to analyze the mobile devices, which during the course, obviously, we will talk about all these things. We introduce the tools, we will introduce the techniques, and how we can basically retrieve data from the mobile devices and basically analyze those information and basically to use it for our cases. Another very important, or another, again, a part of this course is the social media forensics. Okay, social media forensics or open source intelligence. There are many basically name for the social media forensics. Again, is another new branch of the computer forensics. There are many things nowadays. We use social media in many ways. Our chat can be social media. The blogs is a social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We share data, we share video, we share information, which last time, many years back, 30 years back, 20 years back, we would never ever share those data. Those data considered as so-called private data. But nowadays, easily we can, users share those data, and not those data. We think we are just sharing a picture. However, by sharing our picture or text or anything on the social media, we are also sharing some metadata. For example, geolocation information. So if we know how we retrieve this information from the social media, for example, image or those metadata, and analyze those things, then we will know where the information has been uploaded from, or where is the user location. Or if we can basically create analysis, social media mapping between the user and their interest, okay, then we will know how basically what information they are sharing, what is their interest, who is the group, who is the member of this group, or who is the friend, or basically who this person is talking more, what activities they are doing together, and basically we can analyze everything. And another aspect of the social media nowadays is not only social media used by normal people, social media used by business people. Social media, unfortunately, it become a tools for propaganda and also for terrorist activities. So those basically can be important also for us, for national security, or even for the business, just a normal business, to identify those factors. So as I said, social media, or another name, open source intelligence, it can be used for offensive or defensive. So offensive, we can gather the information for an attack, or defensive, we can understand basically either we're going to be the next attack or not. Again, this is a very big topic, and basically that's a part of the course, obviously. And nowadays, open source intelligence used widely for intelligence gathering, for even for marketing, or you name it, for anything it can be used. Why it can be used? Because first of all, it's cheap, fast, and as he said, it's open source. So most of the tools is basically available, and easily the user can use it and implement it and gather their data. So, but it's a basic summary. I think I already used my 1 hour. So I will move on, and I will ask you guys if basically you have any questions about this topic. So feel free to ask me if you have any concern or any question. Guys? And also, if you have any further information about, you need any further information, or you have any question, basically you can contact Lily, and her details is here. and she can basically guide you for the next upcoming intake, which is June 2020, and hopefully by then the situation has become better here, and we can attend our classes. Or if not, then we have to do the Zoom classes, or we have to basically do it online. But in case if you wish to have any further information or details about the graduate diploma in digital forensic and cybersecurity, you can contact her basically, and she can guide you more and provide you more information. Her details is here, and if you wish, you can just contact her. I'm ready if anyone has any question. Okay. Well, if there is no question, then we can end our session here. I would like to thank everybody for attending. And also, as I said, if you wish to get more information, you can contact Lining, and basically she will give you more information. If no question, then thank you very much, everybody. Stay safe and healthy. Have a good day.